Unfiltered, everybody. We only have one more day to go before the Philadelphia Eagles season opener, home opener, banner-raising game against the Dallas Cowboys. We'll also get into Phillies a little bit later, but what I want to do right now for the Philadelphia Eagles. Tomorrow we'll preview the Cowboys game. We'll get into all the matchups. But today, Ricky Bo, what I want to do today is I want to define what we would consider a successful season for the 2025 Philadelphia Eagles. Because we all know the stats. There's only been 9 repeat Super Bowl champions out of 58 of them. There's only been 3 since the salary cap era in 1994. You look at the NFC East, there hasn't been a repeat champion in the NFC East since 2004. So when we look at this Philadelphia Eagles football team, as they make their attempt to, don't say repeat, but repeat, what would you define as a successful season? I'm going to throw it to you first, Ricky Bo. You got the floor, my friend.
NFC championship at the worst. At the worst. I think this team is still built. I think they have plenty of weapons offensively. They still have the best offensive line in football. And I know there's question marks on the defense, but I'm not as worried as everybody else is. I think the defense is going to turn out okay. I think that's just one of those things. And I do believe the offense, with Jalen Hurts running the offense, Saquon Barkley running the football, I think this team can be just as good, if not better, offensively than they were last year. And I think it's going to be spread around a little bit more. Look, everybody thinks that this is a team that can make another serious run at the Super Bowl, and I'm no different. I think this team is that good. And I think you look around the NFC, and I don't think you are afraid. And that's the one thing I'm going into this season with. I'm looking around at the rest of the NFC, and you can't be scared of any of these teams. Your own division, I don't know. I think Washington's due for a little step backwards, and I got to believe that the Eagles are dominant within their division. So I think at least the NFC title game.
All right, so you're saying they got to just get there, not necessarily win it.
Well, I mean, it's hard. Like you said, you brought up numbers. You talk about who has been there, who has repeated. It's not easy to repeat. And I think injuries are always going to be in the back of your mind. If there's an injury to anybody on this Eagles team, what does that do for them, especially at the offensive line? They're thin at the offensive line after the starters, and I think that's a little bit of a concern. But right now, I'm not concerned about it. Right now, I'm planning on everything going as status quo, and I think the Eagles definitely get back to the conference championship.
I'm okay with that. Let me give you some numbers, and then I'll tell you what I would consider a successful season. So if you don't include this Philadelphia Eagles team, there's been 58 Super Bowl winners. 29% of them didn't even make the playoffs, whereas only 9 of them have repeated as Super Bowl champ. That's 16%. 6 of them have gotten to the Super Bowl and lost. That's only 10%. 7 have gotten to that conference championship game, Ricky, where you're saying would be a successful season and lost that. That's 12%. 13 of them have been to a divisional round and lost. That's 22%. And 5 have lost in the wild card, which is 1%. So when you look at those numbers, I know a lot of people are probably going to vote repeat. It is statistically more likely that you miss the playoffs entirely than you repeat as Super Bowl champion. So I cannot set my successful season at Super Bowl championship, even though that's where this team has set the bar because they were so damn good last year, and that's what everybody wants. So I can't do that. I'm also not going to say just making the playoffs, even though I was kidding with Silvana before the show and said, all they got to do is make the playoffs. I would be okay. I'm with you on this, Ricky. I think if they get to the postseason, they win, hopefully just in the divisional round because they have a bye. We'll see if they could be the 1 seed.
If they make the postseason?
No, I said if they win their division. What did I say?
You said if they make the postseason.
No, they're going to make the postseason.
Okay.
If they get the bye, if they are the 1 seed, they wouldn't have to play in the wild card round. But remember, in 2020, see, these numbers are a little skewed because in 2020, the NFL changed the whole playoff format. Now there's 7 teams that make it, but only 1 team gets the bye. So it becomes even more difficult to even get to that divisional round because you could win your division and still have to play in the wild card. But I think I'm with you, Ricky Bo. I think a successful season would be if they got to the NFC Championship game, and then anything on top of that would be gravy. But at the same time, if they win the division, they get into the postseason, and they were to lose in the divisional round, it would be really hard. I'd be upset because I'd be disappointed, but it'd be really hard to not look at that and say, wow, you know what? That was a pretty successful season because of the fact of how difficult it is to try to repeat the following year.
Well, I mean, the one thing we're going to see is, like, how they respond early on in the season. I think that's going to be pretty big. I think the one thing, you know what? They played a lot of games last year, and that shortened off season is no joke, especially in football. We've heard it a lot in baseball. You know what? Oh, the shortened off season. Well, you know what? They have a shortened off season, but it is baseball. I mean, it's not as physical on you as everything else. That's more mental. I think this is more physical on this team. That's why, I mean, you worry about injuries after having a shorter offseason than everybody else did, really, except for the Chiefs.
Yeah, the injuries is a big one, but we also know the mindset sometimes can become too much where you're trying to repeat. And that's why I want to bring people back to one of the first days of training camp when Jordan Mailata, I love this answer, when he got in front of the microphone and he attempted to put this to bed right there, saying, we are not defending anything. Listen to Jordan Mailata.
Most of the leagues are on the same page with moving on. That was more me with the we're not defending nothing. Because I hate hearing that. I think it attributes to a Super Bowl hangover. And, yeah, I'm not trying to be hungover, mate. You know, I'm trying to move on. And when I hear, oh, these are the defending world champs, man, we ain't. I'm sorry. Again, I apologize. We ain't nothing. We're out here to prove it all again. All over again. It's a whole new team. It's a whole new league. Like, come on, we got to go earn it. We're not defending nothing.
So I love that mentality, Ricky.
Have to earn the whole thing over again.
Which makes it so damn difficult. I mean, it really does. It makes it so damn difficult. But this team is good enough that I don't even think not making the playoffs is on the table. But it's just a matter of, what would you consider to be a success this season? And I'm really curious to hear from our listeners today on the text board. You could weigh in 610-632-0975. I know we all want a repeat Super Bowl champion.
And I think it's there. I think it's there. The mentality that the team is bringing into the season, the mentality the head coach has brought in, I think everything is kind of there for the taking for this team. And I think if they perform at the level they should, this is going to be a really, really good football team again. They embarrassed the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Yes, they did. And really, a lot of it's going to come down to, like you just said, you got to stay healthy, number one. And then you can't try to win the Super Bowl with that mindset. You can't be trying to win the Super Bowl in week one. You do have to try to take it one game at a time. So coming up, I want to play some audio for you of coaches who have been to the top of the mountain before. Doug Peterson, who obviously won it in 2017 with the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, he joined John Clark a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about what the mindset needs to be. Dick Vermeil, who never won it here in Philadelphia, but he won it with the Rams. He was on with our morning show a few weeks ago, and he talked about why this team could be set up to repeat. So I want you to hear from two Super Bowl champion head coaches on what the mindset will be. We'll also introduce our Twitter poll where we're going to ask the masses what is a successful season for your Philadelphia Eagles in 2025. But there's more, Ricky Bo, because it is What Movie Wednesday today.
I know there's a lot of people excited about this. These are 4 pairs of tickets to a big series.
Big series. So you can win today. What Movie Wednesday? We're giving away 4 pairs of Phillies tickets for September 10th at Citizens Bank Park against the hated New York Mets. They could put a nail in the coffin of the NL East next week, so we'll have to see how it all plays out. The theme today for What Movie Wednesday, Friday. One of my favorite actors of all time is having his birthday, Ricky Batalico. Michael Keaton's birthday is on Friday. Keaton. So we are going to do Michael Keaton movies today. So we'll have that coming up a little bit later. But coming up next, we'll introduce our Twitter poll. We'll get our early results on where fans think a successful season would be for the Philadelphia Eagles. You could weigh in on the text board, 610-632-0975. And we will hear from Doug Peterson and Dick Vermeil on what the mindset should be as you try to win another Super Bowl. All that coming up on Unfiltered, 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports Philadelphia.